Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and we love that you're here with us. There's 1,000 places you could be or do on Sunday morning. We're glad you're here with us. Let me introduce my God's team. I always say my team like it's mine, but it's God's team that I get the honor and privilege of managing. First is my trusty assistant, Faith Rollins, who was raised in my congregation. She was actually the first baby born in my congregation and my first baptism, which I think is pretty cool. Faith just turned 17 on Thursday. Yay! Happy birthday, Faith.
Thank you.
And then also is the wise and powerful Oz is our practitioner of the day and supporting me on the pulpit. Oz has been with me since like 1998, something like that, and was my board president. I don't know what, 11 years, something like that. God,
pretty much, yeah.
A long time till he moved to Florida, but he's here with us. He'll be praying us in, praying us out, and he'll be available after the service for our 1-minute miracle. Thank you for being here, Oz. Okay, and today's topic, where we've been doing the Back to Basics series that we always do in January and September in preparation for letting people know what we teach so that you can perhaps take a class with us. I encourage anybody and everybody to take the classes. If you're not familiar with our philosophy, it will give you a really good basic foundation for what we teach. And if you have been in this for a while, we also offer auditing so that you don't pay as much for the class. And Faith will tell us a little bit more later about all that when we do our announcements. But so we've been doing the Back to Basics, which is the first 4 chapters of our textbook. And the first one is what it is. The second one is what it does. The third one is what it is, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. So today we're going to talk about how to use it. And that's about all I'm going to say for right now. If you're here, please say hello, good morning, hi, whatever greeting you would like. It lets us know who is here with us. We always like to know who our audience is. When we had a facility, I could look out there and see everybody, but I can't anymore. So I really appreciate knowing who's here. We do music from Fairy Elaine Silver. We're also going to be doing some music from Suze Ogden today. Suze was the music director for our entire organization for many, many years. And I love doing Suze's work. Karen Drucker's music is done in our service as well. We like to do a lot of music because it opens your heart so that you're receptive to what is in your mind, what we're talking about. It opens your mind. Let's see. I think that's about watch parties. Yes. If you would like to do a watch party so you can watch this with your friends and be able to talk back and forth because you can't bother anybody, use the watch party button and you'll be able to view this with your friends. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
I feel the presence of God in the chair that supports me, in the air that I breathe, in the breathing process itself, as God breathes me and sends the oxygen to the millions of cells in my body, all on their own, working, each with that intention, each with that individual spark of life that we know is God. The same God produces the entire manifest abundance of life around the world and in worlds beyond. Look to the sky and see the stars and know that that same presence is there, animating, propelling, and creating everything all anew at all times. And I know that God is here right now in me as it is in you. That one presence that makes us who we are and brings us life. I know that this is a good thing, for the operation is seamless and perfect and effortless. But that is how God works. And I know that that working of God is happening right now through our service and touching minds and hearts. And I'm thankful for being part of this joy, part of this presence, part of this miracle we call life. And being part of that, I give great thanks, knowing that it's so, and I let it be, so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. All right. This next song is from Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver. We do it every week because it is what we believe. We believe we are one. And so she wrote this when she was in training to be a practitioner, I believe, while taking science mind classes for sure. So anyway, we love to do this every week. And if you know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud, because you can't disturb anybody, right? Here we go.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Boy, people keep dropping in and out. Is there a connection issue, or do people just leaving? You never know. One time I was giving a sermon in Oklahoma in this theater, and it was like the first time I'd ever really done a sermon in public, and people would get up and walk out, and I was like horrified. Oh my God, I'm terrible. And later I found out that one of them had to rush to the bathroom, and another one wasn't comfortable sitting there in the heat with all the people around her, so she went up to the booth where they do the sound to get away from people. It had nothing to do with me, but that's how you take it. Anyway, If you're here, please say hi, good morning, hello, whatever your favorite greeting is. If you like something that is said or sung today, use that thumbs up button. If you love something, please send us hearts because we love to get love. And if something strikes you as very, very, very powerful, do the wow button. I like the feedback to know what's striking people as really powerful. Now, this next song, I did not get Tina's permission to use this, but I'm sure she'll be okay with it. Tina was our singer in our church for God since 2000, and she had done this in church when we did this topic before. So I apologize for the way the picture looks, but here's Tina.
Communist of meetings in his office. I can't afford his gas, so I'm stuck here watching TV. I don't have digital, I don't have digital squad. It's not having what you want, it's wanting what you got. I'm gonna suck up the sun, I'm gonna tell everyone to lie tonight. Gonna tell them that I got no one to blame. But every time I feel late, I'm looking up. Gonna suck up the sun, I'm gonna suck up the sun. Got a crummy job, it don't pay near enough to buy the things I take to win me some of your love. Every time I turn around, I'm looking up, you're looking down. Maybe something's wrong with you, makes you act the way you do. Maybe I'm crazy too. I'm gonna suck up the sun, I'm gonna tell everyone to lie tonight. Gonna tell them that I've got no one to blame. Every time I feel late, I'm looking up. Gonna suck up the sun, I'm gonna suck up the sun. Gonna tell everyone to lie tonight. Gonna tell them that I'm not no one to blame. But every time I feel late, I'm looking up. Gonna suck up the sun, gonna suck up the sun. I've got my 45 on, so I can rock on. Thank you.
All right. I love Tina. All right. So she's had to put her priorities somewhere else for the time being. So we hope we see her again soon. All right. So let's see. So to give you a quick overview, since some of you, I don't know who's here or who was here. I don't know what's going on. So I'm just going to recap a little bit. We've been doing our Back to Basics series, which is the first 4 chapters of our textbook. And it's a great way for people who are new to our philosophy to see what we teach. So the first 4 chapters are the thing itself, which is God, that we have that infinite power, that infinite presence within us, that blueprint of God within us, that our DNA is actually the blueprint of God. And the way it works is through love and law, not the kind of romantic love or family love that we think about, but God's love as it pours through us to others. And it's a more powerful, unconditional love that is impersonal. God doesn't choose one person over another. And before I go any further, please, if you're here and you like a different word than God, please use whatever word you want. Just transpose it in your head. Spirit, Great Spirit, Allah, it doesn't matter. Buddha, the universe. I use the word God because that's what talks to me. But please use whatever word is comfortable for you. And so we talked about the love of God and the spiritual laws of the universe. Gravity is a physical law of the universe. The spiritual laws of the universe are things like the law of circulation, the law of cause and effect. Everybody's heard of the law of attraction, right? The law of circulation says what goes out must come back, and that we can increase our good by giving, okay? We give and we receive. Giving and receiving are 2 ends of the same spectrum. And in order to keep the flow going, we must give in order to receive. That's what the law of circulation basically says. The law of cause and effect is about mental causation for everything that we experience in our world. And that's the beauty of it, is that we get to create. And that's that we use the law of cause and effect in order to create our reality. The law of attraction, I'm sure you've heard, is we attract more to us of what we think about. Not every thought is creative, luckily, because, you'd be like, it's here, it's not, it's here, it's not, it's here. I think that would be a very disturbing place to live in. But the preponderance of our thought is what is creative, powered by emotion. So if we have a preponderance of thoughts about prosperity, we are going, and we feel it and know it, then we're going to experience it. As much as I don't like to talk about Trump, I will say that man has a mental equivalent that doesn't quit. He was raised with money, so he already knows what money looks like, feels like, tastes like, touches, And so he's able to create money just like that, which is crazy, but it's true. The Olsen twins are another one. I like to talk about them because they were raised with money. And so you could drop these people off somewhere, in the middle of New York City without a dime, and they would survive. They would somehow make enough money to not only survive, but thrive. Drop one of us out there with no money, maybe we wouldn't do so well. And so what's really true about the law of cause and effect, or the law of attraction, is that what we think the most about is that which we're going to attract to ourselves. Okay, so that's love and law. That's the way it works. What it does is it allows us to embrace our wholeness. It gives us peace. It gives us the capacity to relax and know that this too shall pass. It is life affirming and love affirming. And so we have a confidence about who and what we are. When we really get that we are made of the substance of God, then we know that there is no poverty in the real world, the spiritual truth world. I always have to be really careful when I say I will know the truth for you, because some people get very offended by that. It's not that I know the truth about you, like, I get into your deepest, darkest secrets. I know the spiritual truth for you because I know that no matter what is happening in this world of effects, this world of form, underneath that is spiritual truth, the big R reality, that is more powerful than any circumstance you are experiencing in this little R reality that we live in. And so what I believe it does for us is that, I used to have separate identities almost. Like I was a different person when I was with my family than when I was in church, than when I was with my friends, than when I was at home, than when I was walking on the street. These were all like, oh, you have to behave a certain way. You know, this situation requires you to act this way. This situation requires you to act that way. And what I realized is that if truly everything is one, if truly we are made in the image and likeness of God, if truly all of this is true, then, oops, what did I do? If all of this is true, then to be an authentic person, I must be the same person you see here on Sunday as I am at home, as I am with my family and my friends, as I am if you were to walk up to me on the street. I would have to be that same person. And so what I believe it does is it allows us to experience that unity, that wholeness, that oneness that gives us our identity as a spiritual being having a human experience in this world. Okay, so that is the thing itself, the thing itself, the way it works, what it does. Today we're going to talk about how to use it. I don't know why, for some reason, I can't keep these straight in my head today. And how we're going to use it is we are going to practice spiritual practices. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the spiritual practices that we utilize in religious science. First of all, there are two different types of spiritual practices. There is a directive spiritual practice and there is a receptive spiritual practice. And we have several tools that we use that are either directive or receptive. The first of which, I'm going to talk a little bit about visioning just for a second. We do visioning once a quarter. So I invite you at the end of each quarter to join us, if you aren't already joining us every Sunday, to do visioning, because at the end of each quarter, we do visioning. And let me talk a little bit about the difference between visualization, which is a directive tool, and visioning, which is a receptive tool. Visioning or visualization, let's start with that. Visualization is when I have an idea of what I want to see, feel, think, or hear. And I focus my attention and my intention on that until it manifests. It's not a bad practice, it's just a directive practice. It's me coming up with an idea that I would like to see and pushing it, so to speak, into my reality. Visioning is receptive. It is asking for a larger vision than what we as human doings can conceptualize. So when I do visioning, I ask myself three basic questions, actually. What is God's vision for my life? Because, you know, God has a much bigger picture than we do. God sees all of it. We see this much, you know, we see. And so when we ask for that, when we say, what is God's vision for my life? It's not that we can't say no. Let's put it that way. We can say no. This church was built on me saying no, really, to a vision. I was between churches, and a minister without a church is a very scary thing. I felt like I had to redo my entire house. And $20,000 later, after all the windows and doors and the floors and the kitchen and the bathrooms were all done except for my bathroom. I'm a bath girl. I will take a shower if I need to, but I would much rather take a bath. And I take baths every single night, and sometimes in the morning. And so this guy shows up to redo my bathroom. He pulls out my tub and he says, I'm sorry, I have another project that I have to go to, but I'll be back in a couple of days. And I said, okay. And all this time I'm doing visioning. All this time I'm saying, what is God's vision for my life? I had listened to a tape by Carolyn Mace and Alan Roth, where they talked about calling your spirit back, because, you know, in circumstances that you leave, you always leave a piece of yourself behind. And so they were talking about, you know, going to a lake and standing in the lake and calling those pieces of your spirit back. So as I'm visualizing this, I'm thinking, okay, well, so God, what do I need to do to call my spirit back? And then I do this visioning and I'm like, What is God's vision for my life? Open a church. No, you don't understand. I'm talking about going and swimming with the dolphins or something like that. No. God, what do I need to do to call my spirit back? Open a church. Hell no. I mean, I have already opened 2 churches at this point. One with a friend of mine that used to be up in up way north, and by Brighton, I think it was. And I was her board president, and I helped her open that church. And then Jim Chandler and I co-founded the Denver Church of Religious Science downtown. And so, when God's saying, like, open a church, I'm like, oh, hell no. Been there, done that, not doing it again. Long story short, 4 months later, I'm still without a bathtub. All the excuses in the world, 10 minutes after I said, okay, fine, I will open a church, he called and he said, I'll be there tomorrow. And I got my tub back. So it's not that you can't say no, but please understand that once you open yourself, once you say, I want to know what God's vision for my life is, there are consequences for not following through with that. You've asked for it, so you better be ready to do what you need. So the first question we ask ourselves is, what is God's vision for my life? Then, because we cannot have that which we have not yet become, we must ask one more question about what is it? What spiritual principle must I become in order for me to manifest God's vision for my life through me? So, for instance, if God's vision for your life is prosperity and you only believe in poverty, then you must become prosperity in your mind, body, and soul in order to see it manifest in the physical world as prosperity, right? Okay, we cannot have that which we have not yet become. The third question is, what must I release in order to become that through which God's vision can manifest? Because whatever's stuck in our subjective mind, and I'll go through that in a little while, whatever's stuck in our subjective mind is causing us to not manifest that which we know we deserve, that which we know God has already provided years ago. From the time of our conception, God has provided it. And all we have to do is reach in and accept it. But we have something in our subjective mind that is not going to allow that to happen. And so the process becomes then to what must I release in order to become prosperity so that prosperity may manifest through me as my life. All right, so that's visioning in a nutshell. We usually get together afterwards, discuss what we got so that we can cement it in, and then we live that for that quarter. So that's visioning. So visualization is a directive tool. Visioning is a receptive tool. We are receptive to God's vision for our life. All right. The main one that we use in religious science, in our philosophy, is spiritual mind treatment. That is our form of affirmative prayer. Okay, I'm going to pull up the little chart here real quick. So this is our teaching symbol. And this teaching symbol shows you the unbroken unity of life by the circle that it has. And then it is broken up into 3 parts. Not that we can part God out, but bear with me. That's the only way we have to describe this. The upper portion is the conscious mind, whether that be God's conscious mind or our conscious mind. This middle part here, when we're talking about God, is the stuff of God. It is like Play-Doh, God's Play-Doh, if you will. It's its own body, God's own body. And God thinks us into being through the stuff of its own being, you see. And so the bottom part, and in individualized use of it, this is the subjective mind. This is where a lot of that stuff resides, like what happened to us in our life. Every little possible thing that has ever happened in our reaction to it is stored in this middle section. And what's interesting about that is that it's like a computer, really, a read-write drive, if you will. And until we deal with that material there, it will present challenges, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the bottom portion here is form. So when you talk about God, we have conscious mind, the matter of God, the stuff that God is made of, that we are made of, God thinks us into being through that stuff into the form of our being. So we human doings are created through this process. And you notice that the V goes down from conscious mind through the subjective material to form and then back up to the nothingness from which it came. On the individualized scale, we consciously think something that we want, and it enters into this subjective material. Now, if we have something in there that's going to bounce it back, we will never get it to the form down below. For instance, up here, the conscious mind, I'm doing an affirmation. Affirmations are directive. I'm doing an affirmation that prosperity is mine. I have everything I want. I have more than enough to share and to spare. I have prosperity in my life, right? If down here in the middle, all we've ever experienced is poverty, it's going to say, nope, and bounce it back. So if I say, okay, so I deserve to have money, it's going to go, nope, you don't deserve to have money. You're not good enough. That's the kind of stuff that's going on here in this subjective material. So when I talk about us working on our beliefs, well, that's what I'm talking about. We're working in the subjective material world. But another part of this subjective material, the subjective mind, is that it's an automatic, okay? So a lot of times we're creating subconsciously, not even knowing what we're creating. Have you ever looked at something you've created and gone, what? Why did I do that? I will tell you why. It's because in the subjective material, you have something that is an autopilot. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We use this very frequently for things like driving, for example. I remember, I don't know about your experience, but when I was first learning how to drive, it was like this. I have to look in the mirror. Now I have to look ahead. No, now I need to look on the side to make sure I'm not hitting somebody. Okay, now I need to put my foot on the brake. Now I need to put my foot on the gas. Now I need to turn. Let's see, I need to check this out, check that out. Okay, I can make this turn now. Oh, while I'm turning, I'm looking around, you know. And all of that was a manual thing that I had to do. At this point in my life, since I've been driving all these years, what I realize is that I don't have to think about those things anymore because it lives here in this middle part, this subjective mind, and it's on autopilot, which is great. Then I can focus on what everybody else in the world is doing on the street and on where my destination. I can focus on how to get to my destination instead of thinking about all those little parts and pieces. However, as you can see, that probably isn't always a good thing. So we have all these things that are creating out of that feeling of poverty, that feeling of not good enough. And it's creating circumstances in our world that we don't like seeing. And so again, it's working on that subjective material, working on those beliefs. Let me tell you the difference between faith and belief. Belief can be changed. I can believe in anything, but it can be changed. But if I have faith, if I really truly have faith, nobody can shake that belief out of me. Okay. That's the difference between faith and belief. Okay. So now that we have this basis, now that we know this teaching symbol and the process of creation, let me tell you what we have said our form of affirmative prayer is and does. Okay. Instead of, there's two forms of prayer, really. One is the form of prayer where we beseech God. Please, God, let this happen. Please, God, come in and change this for me. And that's what I was raised with. That's how we approach God. Most of us have been raised with that version of God. With our version of God, what we're saying is God has already given us everything there is to give. And right now, I need to treat my consciousness so that it is in alignment with how God thinks, instead of in alignment with how my subjective mind thinks. Hey, enough. Smokey, enough. Smokey, sorry. You can't see, but I'm smiling. Get over here. Cut it out. Anyway, we are treating our consciousness to be in alignment with the prosperity of God instead of the poverty of our experience. Does that make sense? So when I'm doing a spiritual mind treatment, what I'm doing is I'm treating my consciousness. Now, every prayer is not a treatment, but every treatment is a prayer. So this is how we pray. All right. So now that you know that, I'm going to go over the steps of our treatment with you. It's an easy formula that we really like. Let me get rid of this thing here. Sorry, I'm trying to. All right. And so we have 5 steps to our treatment. The very first step is the recognition that God is simply all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be, only God. See, we don't believe that there are 2 powers in the universe because they would cancel each other out if they were equal. And if there was a power for evil in the universe, then there would be no good in the universe. And if there was a power for good in the universe that was all there is, then it would cancel out evil, right? Okay, so we start with that premise that God is simply all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be, only God. Now, our version of God is a divine intelligence, and quantum physics backs that up. Quantum physics says there is an intelligence in the universe that knows how to create. Okay? And how it creates is through atoms and molecules. And the way the molecules bump together determines whether it's going to be something solid like this desk or something very fluid like the air. Okay? And somewhere in between there are humans. So we are made of the same molecules as everything else in this universe. So that backs up our basis for saying that we are made in the image and likeness of God. In fact, we are made of God. But we call it a divine intelligence because we know it has some divinity. So our version of God is this divine intelligence. And what we're saying when we say God is simply all there is, all there ever has been, all there ever will be, what we're saying is that that divine intelligence runs through it all. Like we are watermarks on a page. God flows through us. It doesn't disrupt the continuity of God. It just adds some shape to it, right? Okay. So God is simply all there is. That is recognition. The next step is unification. Again, if God is all there is, and we are made of the substance of God, the stuff of God, God's stuff, if we're made of that, then we are all one, right? And so I know that God is what I am, my very essence, my very being, my very life. It's not, I am not everything, God, I'm not God, but I am of God. You see the difference? Like God is much more than I am, but I am God. And we don't say that in a cocky way, I am God. We don't say it in a power over kind of way. What we say is that's what I'm made of. My very essence, my very life, my very being. It's who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that infinite power, that infinite presence of God in and through me. That's what we're saying in the unification step. And then if we're praying for someone else, if we're doing a treatment for someone else, we also have to include them in it. So you'll notice that when I pray at the end of this, I'm going to include my team, which is God's team that I get to manage, and all of you, because we are all one. And I studied with Native Americans for about 12 years with a holy man. And the phrase is Mitakuye Oyasin, so I use it a lot. We are all one. You see, in all faiths, there's some version of this. It's just we focus our attention more on we are all one than most, like the Christian faith or the Jewish faith or the Hindu faith or and so anyway, so that's unification. Unification says we are all one and I am one in God. Okay. The realization step is more like an affirmation. I have already received the good that I desire. My life is prosperous here and now. Health is my divine birthright, and I now accept and receive it. Love is what flows through me in everything I think, say, or do, and I feel loved, and I am loved. Those are the kinds of things that go into the realization step. The first 2 steps of treatment are very much like a meditation, and they are receptive. The third step, the realization step, is very much a directive. We are stating our truth, our spiritual truth, that whatever is going on in our life, there is a spiritual truth behind it that we are revealing in this moment. That's our realization step. Then we go to Thanksgiving. I'd like to call it gratitude, but it doesn't work into the acronym that well. But it's the feeling of gratitude that I must incorporate into my life in order for me to see those things that I have just declared. And so I place myself right now in that place of gratitude, thanksgiving. I say, I don't pick up the issue again. I don't go, I am grateful that God is all there is. I don't say, I'm grateful that prosperity is my world. We don't say that. We say, I am grateful that this is done, because in our minds, it is already done, right? I always add, I'm grateful to be in service this way, because truly what I'm doing here is I'm delivering God's message to the world, and I'm just this open channel. So for me, it is a very sacred duty and an honor and a privilege that I get to serve in this way. So that instills automatically that feeling of gratitude for me. Whatever it takes for gratitude to fill your heart. Again, all of these words, I was raised differently than every one of you, and you are all raised differently than anyone else here. Every unique situation has words that are more powerful to them. And so I have words that are powerful to me. That's why I use the word God. Some other people would like to use universe. Some other people would like to use Great Spirit. Some other people would like to use Allah. I'm open to all of that because I do know that there is only one God. And it goes under different names, but it is one, and we are one in it. And it doesn't matter. It's that universal principle that it doesn't matter what we call the divine intelligence. Okay. And so use the words that are powerful to you in all of these steps. Use those words that are most powerful to you, especially in the realization and especially in the gratitude, the Thanksgiving step. Okay. The last step is release. And it was explained to me this way. Dr. Fred Vogt, one of my mentor ministers, said it this way, that you wouldn't go out into the garden and plant a seed, come inside, and in 5 minutes go back out there and say, well, I wonder if it's grown yet. Dig it up to see if it has grown. And yet, when we do prayer, we tend to do that. We look at our watch. It's been 5 minutes. I don't see any results yet. Oh, it's been an hour. I don't see any results yet. Oh, it's been a day. I haven't seen any results yet. And that's picking it back up. When we release it, we say with faith, I release this and know that it is done. And so it is. Amen. Right? And amen is that final thing. If it pops into your head again, you need to say, no. I've released that. I know the truth is, and just repeat the treatment or repeat the realization and just say, nope, I release it. I release it into God's hands. I know that it is done. You see? So our acronym is Are you ready to receive? Are you ready to receive? Are you are TR? I should do a visual representation of that so that I don't have to keep like, are you ready to receive? And really, treatment is about preparing our consciousness to be ready to receive that which we have said we want. And so when we do treatment, that's what we're doing. And that is a very directive thing. It's a directive tool that we're using. Affirmations are a directive tool that we are using. Let me quickly go over affirmations, and then I think we're going to run out of time. It's not like our brain are cue balls when we're born, but sort of. They're flat, they're solid. They don't have any marks on them. They're smooth. It's a smooth round object, kind of like a cue ball, but it's not a cue ball. And I get in trouble for saying cue ball sometimes. I just want to make that clarification. But when we're born, that's the state of our brain. And so what happens is that through repetition, we develop grooves in the brain. So when you look at a brain and you see all those grooves in it, what you're seeing is the repetition that has caused it to remember. Okay. Our brain synapses fire with that information quicker when we have grooves in the brain. So we have more ready access to it. And so it goes from our brain to our body faster the more grooves we have. So when we're doing affirmations, whether we believe it or not in the beginning, the more we do that affirmation, the deeper the groove gets, the more we have access to that information, the more likely we will see that in our world. Okay? So that's the way affirmations work. And like I said, the first 2 steps of treatment are very much like meditation. And the third step is very much like an affirmation. So again, with repetition, you want to make sure that you practice all the time. You practice, lighten up, as Tina was singing earlier. You have to lighten up. You have to allow the process to happen. But the most important things is to practice with these spiritual tools I have given you and do them over time. If you take a class, we do those spiritual practices in every class and all through the week as your homework. So it gives you not only the information about what we teach, but it also gives you the kinesthetic experience of those principles so that you can make changes in your life. The very first class, we always say, what is your intention for the next 10 weeks? What would you like to manifest in this class? And then we ask people to do like 1 to 10. Where are you now? 1 to 10, where would you like to be? And then we spend the next 10 weeks doing that entire process of using these tools and practicing. You have to practice. It's called a spiritual practice because you are practicing. Will you participate with me this week? Let's have a prayer. So I just move my awareness right now to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. I know that God is simply all there ever has been, all there ever will be, and all there is in operation right here, right now. Only God. As such, that's where I find myself, in the midst of God, my very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that infinite power, that infinite presence of God in and through me. I know that same truth to be so for God's team. My honor and privilege is to facilitate the actions that we take on behalf of God as God's team. We allow God's truth to move through us in our actions. With every thought, every deed, every action. God leads us, inspires us, moves us. For we are one. We operate as a unit of God in all that we think, say, and do. I know that same truth for everyone here, whether you're viewing it in current time or later today or months from now. I know that we are all one. That an infinite power, that infinite presence runs through us, and there is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. We are made of the same stuff, and our mind is connected through the mind of God. Our bodies are connected through the body of God. Our life is connected through the life of God. We are all one. Mitaku Yasu. So I bless this coming week. I know that it is inspired and inspiring. It is blessed with that infinite power of God moving through whatever circumstances we are experiencing. I know that God reveals itself as that spiritual truth through these situations. I know that as we move through our spiritual practices, as we utilize the tools that we have been given, that we uncover a greater reality, the big R reality in our lives. That is what we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we experience, instead of the little R reality that seems to appear around us. I pull that forth for us here and now, as I do for every name that is in the ministry of prayer right now, because I know whatever circumstances people are experiencing in this moment, God is far more powerful. I pull back that veil and reveal that truth here and now for all of them. I claim it, I accept it, I receive it in their names, and I call it good and very good. And so my heart fills with gratitude to know that this is so, to be in service this way. My cup runneth over. And so I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Whew. Timing was a little off on that one. I usually pray right up to the very, very hairy edge. It was a little bit longer today. So right now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express gratitude through your sharing for that which you have received in physical form and that which you have created in mind but have not yet received. And what you're giving to is God's message getting out into the world. Because we are marketing internationally for a reason. We want God's message to reach into every corner of the world. And it takes money to do that. Takes a little bit. It doesn't take a lot, but it does take some money to do that. And so that's what you're contributing to, just so you know. So I invite you to go to our webpage, oasiscsl.org. It's in the comments and it's there on the screen. And say the offering affirmation with us. In the middle of that first page, you will see that offering affirmation. And it doesn't matter whether you're participating with us in real time or later on. You can always contribute, and you can always say this offering affirmation with us. So again, you're going to go to oasiscsl.org. In the middle of the page will be our offering affirmation with which we bless that which we are sending out into the universe so it comes back to us blessed, right? Okay. Say it with me now. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. Click that Contribute Now button and contribute to God's message reaching into the world.
Practice, again. Working on the end, but the beginning. Practice on until you don't get the practice, and nothing's gonna stop you.
Christopher Columbus practiced sailing around the world.
Michael Jordan practiced shooting jump shots.
And astronauts practiced walking on the moon.
Madame Curie practiced her science.
Amelia Earhart practiced flying.
Albert Einstein practiced math.
And Pavarotti practices singing.
Rosa Parks practiced courage.
Bill Gates practiced writing programs until he changed computers forever.
Thomas Jefferson practiced writing the Declaration of Independence.
And Sandra Day O'Connor practiced law until she became the first woman on the Supreme Court.
Mies van der Rohe practiced architecture until he designed cool skyscrapers.
Jacques Cousteau practiced sailing and knowing all the fish.
Oscar Peterson practiced piano until he became one of the best jazz pianists ever.
Florence Nightingale practiced nursing.
The Wright brothers practiced airplane design until they took off to the sky.
Alexander Bell practiced talking to his friends until he invented the phone.
Thomas Edison practiced until he invented the light bulb.
And Helen Keller, even though she could not see and hear, practiced so she could read and write.
Pablo Picasso, I'm sure he practiced painting.
And Segovia practiced guitar until his fingers flew.
Jonas Salk practiced science until he discovered the
I just
polio
realized I
vaccine.
didn't share this.
And Lucille Ball.
I don't know if you can hear it or not. I'm going to start over. Sorry.
Gregory Hines practiced dancing until his
God
feet
bless.
were moving.
Let's start over. I don't think you could hear it. Here we go.
We can hear it.
You can? Oh, well, you get a double shot of it, I guess.
Christopher Columbus practiced sailing around the world.
Michael Jordan practiced shooting jump shots.
And astronauts practiced walking on the moon.
Madame Curie practiced her science.
Amelia Earhart practiced flying.
Albert Einstein practiced math.
And Pavarotti practices singing.
Rosa Parks practiced courage.
Bill Gates practiced writing programs until he changed computers forever.
Thomas Jefferson practiced writing the Declaration of Independence.
And Sandra Day O'Connor practiced law until she became the first woman on the Supreme Court.
Mies van der Rohe practiced architecture until he designed cool skyscrapers.
Jacques Cousteau practiced sailing and knowing all the fish.
Oscar Peterson practiced piano until he became one of the best jazz pianists ever.
Florence Nightingale practiced nursing.
The Wright brothers practiced airplane design until they took off to the sky.
Alexander Bell practiced talking to his friends until he invented the phone.
Thomas Edison practiced until he invented the light bulb.
And Helen Keller, even though she could not see and hear, practiced to read and write.
Pablo Picasso, I'm sure he practiced painting.
And Segovia practiced guitar until his fingers flew.
Jonas Salk practiced science until he discovered the polio vaccine.
And Lucille Ball practiced being funny until she made us all laugh.
Gregory Hines practiced dancing until his feet were moving.
And Shakespeare practiced being a great writer.
And there's my friend Suze practicing guitar playing and singing.
And my friend Dan practiced piano just to play for you.
What are you practicing?
Practice again, again. Working on the end of the beginning. Practice on and on until you drop them.
So that is Suze Ogden and Dan. I don't even remember what Dan's last name is. But Suze Ogden, she was awesome. She is awesome. I mean, you know, she's still around, but we don't get to see her quite as much. Let me see if I think I can find a picture of Suze here. She did a Christmas special, I know. Let's see if I can get her website up here. There we go. Okay. This is Suze Ogden that you just listened to, and her friend Dan. So I just thought I'd give you a visual for that. That's probably what I should have used for the video. But anyway, at the moment I was like trying to get a video up, and it's so weird how it distorts everything, but you know, whatever. All right. So we have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners that are on our God Squad. Right now, Oz is available, well, after the service, Oz is available for what we call our 1-minute miracle. It's not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can share whatever challenge you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. You do this through video chat. You can just reach out to him. He doesn't answer right away. Be patient. He's probably talking to somebody else, and you can try back in a few more minutes. But we have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast. I love to be able to say that, who are available for spiritual guidance for a fee. And so what you do is go to our website, look them up, arrange with them through Venmo or Cash App or whatever to pay for their services. You're paying for their time. And then they will set up an appointment with you, and you can then, I think they'll video chat you. Is that how we work it, Oz? I think it is. And so they will work it for you until you can see it for yourself. That's kind of the thing is, you know, it's difficult for us when we first come into this philosophy to know the spiritual truth behind the circumstance for ourselves. So they will not only help you work with what's in that subjective material, but they will also know the spiritual truth for you until you can see it for yourself. So take advantage of this loving service they provide. All right. If you would like prayer for something this week, please put it in the comments. If you want something else, or if you want, not want something else. If you don't want it to be public, you can message one of us and we will make sure that it gets on that private Facebook group page for our God Squad to work on it every day for a week. And if you would like, so either put it in the comments or message us directly. If you would like to participate in our God Squad, you don't necessarily have to be a licensed practitioner. Just a second, I have to glare at my dog for a minute. Well, not my dog, Vincent's dog, whatever. You leave Daisy alone. Got it? She picks on poor Daisy, who's elderly and has cancer. She's a puppy, so she gets, yeah, she wants to play. Anyway, if you would like to participate in our God Squad, you don't necessarily have to be a licensed practitioner. You do need to do affirmative prayer, be willing to commit to doing affirmative prayer every day for a week on those requests and follow through on that. If you would like to do that, you can type yes in the comments and Faith will add you to our God Squad. If you would like to be part of our public-facing group page, which is our online community, type more in the comments and Faith will add you to that one. Let me do bracelets and that kind of stuff, and then I'm going to turn this over to Faith to talk to you a little bit about classes and how to do that. So the very first one is Brooks and Bailey, handmade malas and bracelets. All the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue. It's a very worthy organization to receive the donations for this. You can reach her at Brooks and Bailey at 0307@gmail.com. Faith has it in there. I'm not as good at reading this. I can't see very well. But here's the bracelet. They have this really nice, what is the name of it? It's kyanite. This new kyanite bracelet. And see that clasp? I love this clasp. It's a lot better than a lot of the other ones. Also Brooks Limited. That this is one of her dusters that she sells. Everything is one of a kind. You can get upgrade your entire wardrobe, or you can just buy a one piece that will, like this, that you can wear with what you already have, and it will update your wardrobe. Okay. Wonderful stuff. Brooks Limited. So on Facebook, it's Brooks Ltd. There we go. And Faith has got it there on the screen, and she also has it in the comments, so you can click on it, I believe. Elaine Silver, Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's music is available on her website. Her website doesn't work for her to update it, so you will have to reach out to her by email to see where to send the money. But go ahead and buy something. We love to support those who support us. Karen Drucker has a working website. You can buy a song. You can buy a CD. You can buy a songbook. You can buy, some of the songbooks even have American Sign Language on them, showing you how to sign the song. So that's pretty cool. But again, we tithe to her, but we would love to have you go on and buy something from her to support her, because she has gifted us with her entire collection of like 20 albums, CDs, whatever you want to call them. All right, let's let Faith come in now and talk about how to register for classes.
Hi, everyone. So in the comments, under all the announcements, we do have our username for Venmo. That's how we're going to be accepting payment for the classes this round. We have an option where you can pay for the first 5 classes separately, so $30 each class, and then before the 6th class, we need you to pay that other $150. We understand times are tough right now, so we want to be flexible and give you some of that assistance. We just need you to pay before the class. In the memo box on that Venmo payment, just put class number, whatever class you're paying for, just so that we make sure that you are up to date on payments, and then we would like to see you all there.
Thank you. So yeah, if you're new to our philosophy, this is a great way to learn how to apply these principles to your life and use these spiritual tools to make a better life for yourself. If you are taking it as an audit, just so you know, it's only $30 for the entire 10 weeks. And all you have to do is put audit in the comments section. But home office keeps the records of who's taken what class. So if you're not familiar to me, we can always check that out. So go ahead and audit it if you feel like you want to do that. And then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. You can find information about our practitioners. You can find out, you can listen to previous sermons that I've done in years past in the audio files, or you can watch some of the current videos that we have. We try to upload those every week, but some of them have been challenged because of the music we did. So some of them may not be available, but we try to get most of them up there. So let's do our closing song now. And sing it with us. It's a wonderful meme to get in your brain, and it blesses us each one.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I am so grateful for these blessings that sprout up all around me. And I know this is true for all of you. The blessings of God are all around us, in us, as us, moving us forward, bringing us life, bringing us joy, bringing us blessings. And for one and all, I accept these blessings as done, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're glad you were here with us. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Join us next week at 10:30.
At 10:30 Mountain Time.
Thank you.
12:30 Eastern time.
We love you.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Love you.
Bye, y'all.